MLB Network insider John Heyman, the first to report the Blue Jays have also agreed to a one-year deal with free agent shortstop Marcus Semien worth $18 million. 2 years ago, Semien finished third in the AL MVP voting. He'll switch from shortstop to second base in Toronto. Bo Bichette has the lockdown on short for the foreseeable future. So, hey man, the Blue Jays have been busy. You take a look at some of the subtractions there on the right side, but the additions. Couple of big ballers. So you get Springer and Semien. Semien has some pop with his bat. And then also from a pitching perspective, don't sleep on Robbie Ray. We didn't see a ton of Kirby Yates, but Yates certainly is a very strong reliever. A.J. Cole and Tyler Chatwood. So, Bill, what do you think here about what the Blue Jays are doing?
Well, I tell you what, they were a lot of fun to watch last year. And we heard George talking about the lineup. And I think what I took out of that is they might be a little bit more advanced in their years. As far as coming into play. So when you're watching this and you see what these guys are doing, they were fun to watch. I think George Springer coming in being the elder statesman, shall we say, of this group, can provide something. Certainly Semien coming in fits that bill too, but George Springer, if you want to look at somebody, has anybody been better in the postseason than this guy? So these guys, all these young guys, they want to get where George has been, right? So that's a pretty good guy to bring into the organization to kind of show him the way.
Yeah, Ronnie, a World Series champion, a World Series MVP. We all know the damage he does as a leadoff hitter in terms of hitting the ball out of the park. I mean, and he's the wily veteran now with all these young kids in Toronto.
He's still young, though. Yes, a dynamic player in the regular season and the postseason. I think he's going to be a guy that those young players will look up to because every October they've been watching him on the television. I think when we go past that, we showed Marcus Semien. I find it interesting that they're going to move him to second base. You know, he had a lot of struggles early in his career at short. Worked really hard to become a really good shortstop, and changing positions, I'm sure it's not going to be that easy. He played 26 times, started 26 games at second base, but that was in 2014. Right. That's a long time ago. But the way shifting is now and everything, people are kind of not at the standard position at all times anyways. Interesting that a one-year deal. They're just looking for his production from 2 years ago, which is about as good in baseball. MVP candidate.
I know you're going to get into the details of, you know, what it takes from a footwork perspective when you're moving from short to second. But what are your thoughts just overall on Semien making the transition?
Well, one, I think I'm not on the inside in Toronto, so I don't know what they know. But I'm sitting here where I sit, and I'm with Ronnie on this one. Because what you had 2 years ago, he finished third in the AL MVP voting, playing shortstop. Right? Did damage at home plate, played 158 games or something like that. That's what I like about this dude. This dude is durable. He goes out there and plays. Now, I'm not mad at the fact that Bichette can play shortstop. But I just think in their stages in their career, I don't think it would stunt Bichette's growth if he went over and played second base, because they only signed him for a year.
Right.
So you never know where that may play out. So I think there's something to be said for that consistency. And if I'm bringing that dude in right there, I think Bichette's better built at this time to go over and make the transition to the other side of the bag, personally.
And so you see the potential defensive lineman. So first off, Vlad Guerrero has dropped about 35 pounds, but they're going to keep him at first base instead of third base. Kevin Biggio, you know, again, this is potential, but the thinking in Toronto, Biggio's going to go to third, and then you see Semien and Bichette at second and short, respectively. What about this Blue Jays team, Ron? Overall, in the AL East, with the movement we've seen, so the Yankees, they did re-sign LeMahieu, and they signed a couple of pitchers as well, and Tyone and Kluber. But who do you think has the edge? Who do you think is the front runner today, in late January, to win the AL East?
Well, I'm going to do what we all do every single year, and I'm going to put the Rays down, not in first place like they were last year. But I think the Yankees have the edge right now. I think the Blue Jays have certainly moved north from where they were last year when they were a postseason team. Getting back to that lineup, I naively thought that Guerrero Jr., coming back after losing 30 pounds, would get a look at third base, because if he does play third, that really opens up the diamond for your DHs like Tellez, who can also play first, Biggio, who can play anywhere. Biggio has played everywhere on the diamond practically. 10 games last year as they were trying to mold him into a third baseman. What I like about this ball club is their lineup. I like their youth. I like their exuberance.
Yep.
What I don't love yet is their starting rotation. I think they really did a nice job with some minor league guys that they moved into the bullpen last year that really helped out, Anthony Kay and others. But I think their rotation is not as deep as they want, and I also think they're counting on a lot of guys to do some big things. Can they do it? Yes. Tyler Chatwood, when he throws strikes, can't hit him. You look at a guy like Nate Pearson. He's a guy that should be the next great one coming down the line, a Jack Flaherty kind of body, that big guy. But he hasn't proven it yet, so you have to wait. Robbie Ray is a guy that when he gets on a roll, he can go through stretches where he's unhittable. He can also go on a roll where he's very hittable. So all of those question marks, I think, are things that you think about. But with the Blue Jays and Mark Shapiro, 5-year contract, he's been given a mandate to really take this team to the next level. And don't forget that they're going to have a new ballpark there in a couple of years with young players. You start the tradition of having a great ball club, you fill that ballpark.
Yeah, the thing with Guerrero is interesting to me because if he did lose the weight and the body was the issue that he was having problems defensively, because I haven't seen the defensive side of him that I'd like to see. And at third or first, he's looked very stiff and very uncomfortable. So maybe, just maybe, losing some pounds and getting in better shape might kind of fix that. But I think that's a big key.
Yeah.
And we're so early. We haven't started spring training yet.
Right.
We don't even know if it's actually going to happen on time. We think it is. We're 3 weeks out. So those boards that we put up on lineup, field position, and everything else, everything could be different come April 1st when that happens. But I'm going to be very interested to watch how Guerrero goes into spring training and what glove he actually has on his hand and how well does he use that.
What I do like about Guerrero is the fact that he didn't wait. I mean, the season was over in a month. He had dropped 20 pounds, and he looked fantastic. So.